We're going live.
All right.
It's when you decide to live your life the Bible way. You're going to be tempted to go back to your old ways.
I'm scared.
God didn't give you the spirit of fear. This is your journey, and I can't do it for you. I thought I told you to stop bringing that foolishness around my house. And I only want what's best for you. Somebody go 911, please. Oh my God, somebody help! Oh Lord. Lord, I can't do this one. I can't do this one, Lord. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, A
Hello.
Fox of the Angela Foxworth Show. I am so excited to be with you guys tonight. That's right. You guys know that I am in the studio in downtown Atlanta, baby. Tech Genius Studios, home of the Angela Foxworth Show. And of course, the network, as you know, is Amethyst on Fire TV on Roku, and we are here before you today. Listen, I hope everybody had an amazing break, an amazing holiday. Last week, we decided to give you guys a break. We didn't have the Angela Foxworth Show just because we wanted people to be able to spend time with their friends and family and loved ones. And I hope it was an absolutely good time for you all. So, listen. The trailer that we just played is called My Mother's Prayer. You know that Amethyst on Fire TV on Roku has some of the best independent content out there. Not to mention the Angela Foxworth Show, which is one of the hottest independent shows out there. Okay, today I don't want to toot my own horn, but beep beep. So listen, and the reason I be rocking and rolling is because I have some of the best guests in the world, and this young lady is no
Yes,
different.
yes.
So I would like to go ahead and introduce Miss Tina Ivie. Thank you so much for being on the Angela Foxworth Show today. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am delighted to be one of your guests. Yes,
I
ma'am, I
am
am.
Listen, I am so excited because like I tell my guests all the time and like I tell the people all the time, my show truly is about motivation, inspiration and education, right? And
Yes,
your
ma'am.
story falls in line with all of that. I did a post when I was introducing you to my audience, my social, and I said, "Do you guys know who Tina Ivy is? Cuz if you don't, you're about to find out, right?"
Indeed, yes,
Okay?
they are.
So listen, as we get ready to delve right in, why don't you tell our audience who you are and what it is you do?
Yes, I am Tina T. Ivy. And what I do is I'm trying to keep my happiness out of other people's pockets. And how I'm preventing doing that is from being recocooned. Once
Mm.
you're out of that shell, you want to stay out of that shell. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So listen, if we're in a shell and you're talking about being out of the shell, then that means we must have gone on some journey, right?
Yes,
That means
ma'am.
that there was a journey that had to get you to this point.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we get into my first question, I first want to say thank you, Anna J. Eccles of the cover magazine. You were
Yes,
actually on the cover, and I want
yes.
to give you a shout out and a kudos for that. AJE Dreamland Productions, where dreams are made real. So we want to thank you so much, Miss
Thank
Anna, for
you.
the
Thank you.
connection, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But my first question is I'm gonna start and I'm gonna take you back, and I want to dig deep because I really want my audience to understand what it is you are actually trying to convey to them. Let's
Okay,
start with the beginning because everything has an origin, right?
that's
I
correct.
would love to know, and let me tell my audience too. You guys want to send comments, you want to, be able to, ask questions. This is interactive. Go to the
Mhm.
chat. I will read your chats and everything. So don't feel shy. We are an interactive show. Brent Mora Gaskins, thank you so much. He said awesome. And so thank you so much. Listen, that is the owner and CEO of Amethyst on Fire TV. When the owner watching, we gotta really, we gotta really bring it. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Brent, for tuning in. But yes, send us some love, some happy faces, some smiles. We want you to get inspired, those of you that are tuning in. Okay, so Tina, with that being said, let's start with the origin. Before you got to the point of understanding and knowing that you needed to be repurposed and, just kind of reinvent yourself, how did you start? Where was the challenge? Because there sounds like there's a challenge there.
Yes, ma'am. Well, the origin was I am originally from Chicago, Illinois,
Okay.
and my grandmother raised me from
Okay.
5 to 12. At 12, I came to Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
and um, that's where it all began. The bullying and what have you. But
Okay.
I never claimed myself to be a victim of any kind.
Amen.
So I got pregnant at 16.
Okay.
No, I got pregnant at 15 and I had my daughter at 16. However,
Wow.
I never claimed to be a victim. I never
Okay.
wanted to be a statistic. And that's what that's the origination of, um, I think maybe the struggle of trying to make sure everybody knew that I wasn't what it seemed like I was, because
Okay.
that's what I was told I was gonna be. Just a teenager getting pregnant, having a living in the projects, having a household of babies with
Mm-hmm.
with all different type of baby daddies, without knowing the core of somebody's pain.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because I always tell everyone, even my two grown adult daughters, that I didn't get pregnant because I didn't know. I got pregnant because I didn't say no. So
Oh, I love that. I love
that
that.
yes, ma'am. That's what the young ladies, even the older adult ladies, need to know. It's okay to say no, but
Yes.
when you're looking for
Yes.
love and when you're looking for some type of attention, if you or to just to be accepted, because like
Yes.
I said, the origin came from a loving home in Chicago and everything,
Mm-hmm.
being detached from my family and my cousins and just my whole being of
Mm-hmm.
everyone, to come here and then began to be bullied and picked on. It was just devastating.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, because oh, that's one of the pet peeves that I have are bullies, number one, because
Yes, ma'am.
we know as we're adults now, most people that are bullies, even bullying adults, are really people that just have inadequacies. They're so insecure that they feel like they have to, push up or beat up on somebody else just to make themselves feel good. So we know that. At the time that you first went, you said you were 12 when you moved to Memphis, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so when you got there, and what was the bullying about? What was it? Was it your size? Was it your hair? Was it your color of your skin? What were you being bullied for?
I was being bullied for my skin color and my
Okay,
hair. My
Okay.
hair was long and
Yeah.
wavy and curly, and most of the girls that were around it, they were dark skinned. I mean, I
Yeah.
I never experienced prejudice until I got here. So,
Wow.
when they would just, right over there in South Memphis,
Wow.
they would make me go to the store and get them things with my money, just, pushing me around
Yes. Yes.
until, my mama, me and my mom, we moved to, a little bit further down, and,
Mhm.
I had to just fight my way, from being bullied. I
Yeah.
had to fight.
And
And
that's why I wanted to ask you that question, simply because a lot of times in our culture, people do not know, like any, people that are outside of the culture don't
yes,
really
ma'am.
understand that dynamic between light skin, dark skin, natural hair, weaves and
Mhm,
and and
mhm.
and, and silky. And the term that I hate the most, good hair. Like, what is good hair? You know what I'm
What is
saying?
it
Like,
here?
right.
Right.
So I do understand that all too well. And the funny thing is, as much as dark women got bullied during, during their time, light
Mhm,
skinned women got bullied just as well. So
mhm.
that is why I wanted you to talk about that particular part of it, because that understanding that dynamic, it has actually filtered to our culture. Even today, people are still arguing about natural light skin, dark skin, which is ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't even matter. It really matters really what's in your heart, and what kind of character you got, really, in the scheme of things. But again, we still kind of have those issues in our culture.
That's correct, and that's the message that I have to the audience and to people, even via the cover magazine.
Hmm.
Although it started when I was a teen, having a baby at 16, I made that vow to myself, and
Hmm.
I told my mother that I would not get pregnant again until I was married. I
Yeah.
was trying to prove to myself that I wasn't what they said I was going to be,
Yeah.
and even with being picked on, even now as an adult.
Hmm.
I'm 52 years old, but even as
Hmm.
a light-skinned adult, I'm still getting picked on. But now I
Yeah.
know how to fight my battles, and I'll push you off of me really quickly, because it's
Yes.
like, there's no need, there's no reason, because they look at you and then they size you up to be something that they know nothing about you, and
Yes.
that's
And that's
very
the part. Yes.
irritating.
Yes. The size you up part is
Mhm,
definitely instrumental. And anybody that's listening, if you have any relatability to this subject, whether or not you were dark skinned and got bullied, light
mhm.
skinned and got bullied, or if you've even experienced it, please drop a comment about it in the chat. I would definitely love to hear from you. We would love to know if that, if other women
Yes,
relate to that. And I do think that it is sad that we're still living in those times, which actually, historically speaking, people don't even realize that came back from slave times. That's where the,
that's
the light
correct.
skin and the dark skin, it was for massa, okay, to
Right.
cause division. And that division has perpetuated through where we're at today. So when people say your history doesn't matter, it
Yes, it
matters,
does. It
okay?
matters. It
It's
matters.
why we still go through the things that we're going through today.
Yes, yes, and I have had a lot of encounters where people would come and they would ask me, "What are you?"
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
then my comment, my response to them now is, "What do you mean? What am I?"
Yeah.
When you direct that back to that person, give them that question, the question as an answer, then it doesn't make sense. How can you
Yes.
ask someone, what are they? What
Yes.
in relations to what?
Right.
I'm a
Right.
human. I'm a human being just like you are.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
in within, my story, and letting the beauties, as I call them, and that's no matter what color you are, whether it's the darkest
Amen.
of the skin or the lightest of the skin, you still have to know who you are before
Amen.
you go on any job, before you go
Yes.
on in any interview, or go in the company of your friends, family, or foes. If you
Yes.
don't know who you are from the beginning, then yes, you will continue to be in that generational curse of, I am what they said I am. No, I'm not.
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
don't know who you are, so you can't clearly tell me who I am.
Exactly. And okay, so now I want to go back to you having sex at an early age.
Hmm.
So I love what you told everybody, that it is okay to say no, because I do feel like, and I can only remember times, in my youth, where you did feel like there was a level of pressure that you received, as it related to, having sex. Not everybody was just wanting to, jump off and do so. I was
Right.
a trash talker. Like, I had the gift of gab. So I knew how to talk like I was about to, for
Yes.
real,
Yes.
do that and do that thing. And so, and then when it came down to, I'd be like, but my mama be here in a little bit, or
Uh,
I try to make excuses. And this guy told me, when he's like, man, you just a big old tease. I didn't even know what a tease was. But yeah, I used to talk cash money trash. But I want you to take me to that point of feeling bullied and feeling like you weren't accepted. Did that attribute to the fact that you did have sex early?
um, at that time, I didn't think so, but
Okay.
now I do know that that's what it was because,
Okay.
again, you have to find out who you are
Yeah.
before you can answer all of those questions. So, yes, it did at that point. I wasn't bullied into doing it or anything. Actually,
Right.
I was at home. My mother
Yeah.
was going to a softball game with his mom. They was on the team. I knew not to
Okay.
have
Okay.
company, because I
Yes.
wasn't a fast girl. I was
Yes.
a homebody girl, so I wasn't fast at all. I had a
Yes.
boyfriend. He was my boyfriend, and
Yeah.
when we watching cartoons. We laying on the floor because we didn't have any furniture. Me and my mom,
Right.
we didn't have any furniture, so we laying on the floor and we watching. And he said, "You ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?"
Mm.
You know. And
Yeah.
then it, one thing led to the other, so it
Yeah.
wasn't. I should have
Yeah.
said, "Well, no, I'm not gonna do that."
Yeah.
But if you're afraid to say no and you want to
Yeah.
please someone else, then that's where we get this struggle. That's what I'm trying to convey, to the
Yeah.
young ladies and the older ladies. You don't have to be so pressured to where it will be a horrible thing for you in the long run, but it'll be
Yes.
better for that other individual. That doesn't make sense to me anymore.
That's right. That's right. And so now that you have had sex, how long after delving into it did you find out you were pregnant? Because you said you were 16, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
was, yes.
So how
I was
long after the relations with him?
actually, my mother told me that I was pregnant.
What?
Yes, ma'am. I had
Wow.
because me and my mother, God rest her soul, we were close. We were
Okay.
close.
Okay.
And she came to me one day and she said, "Boo," that's my nickname. She said, "Boo, are you pregnant?" And I was like, "No." Huh. I just started
Yeah.
panicking and I'm like,
Yeah.
"How does she know?" And because she said, "I had a dream about fish."
The whole fish tree.
The whole fish dream. And she said, "I know it's not Tutu, which is my sister." She said, "I know it's not her."
Hmm.
So and I just panicked. She took me to the doctor, and
Hmm.
yes, I was. But
Wow.
she told me this,
Hmm.
Mama, I cried, because
Yeah.
my heart went out to, me and my mother was in a struggle as far as,
Yeah.
finances and everything. So,
Yeah.
and I told her, I apologized to her and I said, I don't want to have this baby and, because it'll be, too much,
Yeah.
for us. And she left that decision up to me. She said,
Amen. Amen.
"You're too young to have a baby." She said, "I don't
Hmm.
want you to have to go through that like I did with your sister." She said, "But I support whatever it is that you do." And I
Wow.
decided to have my baby. I did
Amen.
not have an abortion or anything, but and I thank
Yeah.
I thank the Most High that I did not do that.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm just absolutely amazed. So, you go through, your 9 months, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then you have your baby. You had a boy or a girl?
I had a girl.
Okay, so you had your daughter,
Yes.
and during that time, you said that you were, you refused to be a statistic, right?
Yes.
And when you're a young mom, I got pregnant at 19. I had my son when I was 20, so I was a little bit older, second year of college. But when you are so young still, it's really like I could think about how much I feared having a baby, and I was considered an adult,
Yes,
so
yes.
you still being a teen, what was it that made you feel like I'm not gonna be a statistic, as young as you were?
Because from the beginning, with my family,
Hmm.
um, when me and my mother came down to Memphis,
Yeah.
and once it was told that uh, that I was gonna be pregnant and having kids all over the place or whatever, it was
Hmm.
something that I felt like I needed to prove,
Okay.
that I wasn't that I'm not a fast little girl, and I'm not gonna be on welfare and
Yeah.
give my daughter to my mother to raise. And
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to prove that to them, and
Yes.
later on I realized that I didn't need to prove anything to them, because whatever they had in their heads is what they had in their heads. Because
Yes.
even after not having another child until 7 years later, with
Hmm.
my husband that I have been married to for 30 some years, it's
Amen.
still, thank the Almighty, so
Yes. Yes. Love
even
it.
then, even
Mhm.
now, it's still no different. So
Right.
it doesn't matter. You have to prove to yourself who you
Yes.
are, and then you don't care about the labels that other people put on you.
I love that. I love that. So now we're gonna fast forward, right?
Okay.
You've had your daughter, you're living your life. Now we're about to get into your purpose, because we know that, the things that you went through and that you're going through or have gone through is for a purpose, right?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
did you start deciding what that purpose was, and like how did the revelation hit you? Did it hit you later on after you got married? Did you start, for what you're doing today? Where did that start after you had your daughter?
Oh wow. I'll say my driven purpose, just trying to
Hmm.
find out the why and the all of the what's and different things. That was from then all the way up until now, but that the main driving force was, I'll say, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago,
Okay. Okay.
2.5 years ago, because I was having some daddy issues.
Okay.
And I'm weeping in the tub, and I'm like, why am I crying at 50 years old about my daddy?
Wow.
So I went and I said, okay, there are a lot of feelings that I have, but these feelings and these emotions that I'm dealing with, they're
Hmm.
putting me in a negative space, and it's causing my mental to be drained to the point of madness. So I sought out help. I went to counseling, and
Hmm.
it's a lot of um, I'll say African American people, or dark skinned people, or
Hmm.
our culture. We don't seek out mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health is more important than your physical health. There are a lot
Yes.
of physically healthy people that's in psych wards,
Yes.
but if they don't have that mental, then them having the physical, it means nothing. So
Yes.
if you don't take care of your mental health, which is what I did, I sought after that. I said, okay, I need to find a place to put this pain. So
Yes.
when I did that, then I was like, okay, but still, why am I here? Why
Yes.
am I going through this? What do I need to do? So
Yes.
it's that driving force of trying to find out where to put all of this stuff, from however old anyone is to whatever their issue is, where to put it in a positive pocket that'll be not better for you, but better for the people that's going to be around you. Nobody wants to be
Yes.
around somebody that's always being saying that they're victimized. Everybody did
Yes.
this to me, and okay,
Yes.
things happen. So
Yes.
that's my purpose. My purpose is to make sure that if you unlocked, find out how to get unlocked and stay unlocked.
Yes. Yes. Now, there has to be a formula for that, because,
Man,
once you have determined, what it is that you have been struggling with or what you haven't healed from, what I have realized is that even if it was something as, far back as when you were a kid, if you do not heal, that it's going to show up somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Somewhere
ma'am.
it is going to come back. It's going to come back in your relationships. It's going to come back in how you handle life situations. It's going to come back somewhere. It doesn't go away. It definitely has to be addressed. And I'm going to say this, being a person who has sexual trauma,
Hmm.
you have to you have to reconcile what happened to you. You
Yes.
have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge hurts in your life. You have to acknowledge pain and
Yes.
trauma, because that is the beginning of healing. And I am a testament that you can heal. And I was not the kind of person that necessarily was raised to say we handle everything. I come from again, a culture of we just kind of sweep stuff under the rug and keep it moving. You don't
Yes.
kind of delve in that. So that was kind of like our way of defending ourselves. But at the end of the day, we realized it really was just unhealed trauma.
That's
and
it.
and that's not a good way to live, because you end up having all kind of issues, as it relates to never being healed. So when you were crying and you realized it had to do with your dad, and you realized there was some things that you needed to address in order for you to be healed, what was your process?
My process was first, again, recognizing that the pain was within me,
Yeah.
and not trying to find out the pain within someone else.
Yes.
I'll take it as far as with being married, to my husband. There was a
Mhm.
question that was posed to me: is your husband responsible for for your pain, or what your father didn't do? So
Mhm.
you have to, when you find that particular thing out, then that's the beginning of your healing, instead of
Mhm.
trying to put it to where it's your fault why I feel this way. No, it's
Yes.
not his fault, or
Yes.
it's not my brother's fault or my sister's
Yes.
fault. It's you have to put the blame on who it needs to be blamed for.
Yes.
So before my father passed away, which was actually September of 2022, last year. So
Wow.
this year, yeah,
Okay.
made it, um, 1 year. Then,
Okay.
you know, being able to go and start that healing process, when my
Mhm.
when my mental and my soul and my life, my everything was going around, find out the process or the point of origin where you need to, so you can go about the healing process of making sure that you hit the right point, so that you
Mhm.
can have the correct healing. Because
Yes.
if we don't hit the right point, Angela, we're not going to have the correct healing, and then it's going
Yeah.
to be a repeat cycle.
Yeah.
So first thing is to find out what it is that you need healing from,
Yes.
and be
Yes.
true to yourself about it. Don't
Yes.
be don't think of it as, well, I'm a victim, they shouldn't have did this to me. Maybe they should not have.
Right.
No
Right.
little girl should not have her father being there. She should never have to be in that position where she have
Yeah.
to put her self-worth on the line to be accepted.
Yes.
So that's the beginning of that healing.
I love that. And there's a gentleman actually that's left some comments, and I appreciate your comments, sir. He said that it happens to men too. So it's definitely not just isolated. They
Right.
actually go through, the same thing. And I dare say maybe for them it's even a little harder, because, when you're talking about leading your households, and, having to deal
Yes.
with a society that not may necessarily accept you,
Yes.
that probably is, just as difficult as well. But it is definitely, good to know that there are men that understand the importance of, having their mental health where it needs to be as well, because a lot of men have been under trauma that we had no idea.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. And they should not be excluded. They should definitely be included, because men are the heads of the house, of the home. Even if
Correct.
they're single, they're still the head of their home. So if
Yes.
their mental isn't on point, then they can't, do well for themselves, let alone lead a family. So
Yes.
it's always important for them to seek out, if they need some mental health, um, um, I'll say extinguishing. We all need
Yes. I
that.
love that. Yes.
We need a cleaning out, of,
Yes.
because there are traditions that have been placed on us, for
Yes.
us to do things in the manner that, old Papa said or old Mama said or whatever.
Yes.
Things change. Now
Yes.
the actual particular of the thing, won't change, but it changes. You
It
understand what I'm
does.
saying? It changes. So
Yes.
we have to look at things differently. I couldn't dare look at things as a 12-year-old as I look at as a 52-year-old. That just doesn't
Correct.
make sense. So,
Correct.
the purpose of, and I just want to hit that just a little bit, Angela, because
Mm-hmm.
when I did the cover um, story, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, why is this woman at 50 some years old talking about being a teen, a pregnant teen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they have to understand is it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to find out
Amen.
how to heal, like we just discussed, or what the
Yes.
problem is from the beginning, in order to
Yes.
reach someone else, to let them know
Yes.
this is what I went through. You're not alone. So it's a
Yes.
lot of people that I have spoken with in my time that they're just really like, you went through that, you lived
Yes.
over here, you didn't do the, oh my goodness, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Because it now I can tell the story, and I can say, you know what, this is it. Come on, y'all, let's grab it and go. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what color you are, what size you are, what size you
Yes.
are. I look at people the way I want them to look at me.
Yes.
And that's just that.
Yes. And I love that what you said, because it's so many layers to this, right? Okay, so because, and I'm gonna go back because we talk about the victim mentality, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And of course some people will feel like, if I was traumatized and if I was hurt, that is, detrimental. Like, that has affected me for my whole life. What I
Yes.
wanna encourage people though is that being the victim, it almost makes you feel like you're not strong enough to overcome. The
Mm-hmm.
reason we do go through tragedies at times, it is to humble us. It is to, allow us to have empathy and compassion for people who are going through things as well. And it
Yes.
also encourages you that this too shall pass. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. What they intended for bad, God was
Amen.
always going to be able to
Amen.
turn it around for your good. And
Amen.
so when you have that encouragement and the will to not want to, make it like that's going to be the reason why you never find peace in your life, you never find happiness in your life. If you find a way to overcome that, it is going to strengthen you. You will find joy where you thought there never would be. Don't let
Yes.
them win. And
Yes.
that's one of the biggest things. If you were victimized, just don't let them win. They already robbed you of whatever it is they took from you. But
Yes.
make sure you don't give them your entire life, meaning your relationships, your friendships,
Yes.
relations with your parents, how you handle situations, how you run away from jobs and you decide that, you're unstable, you be all over the place. Don't let them win.
That's
And
correct.
so, it will allow you to see strength that you probably didn't even realize you had. That's number one. Number two, even getting out of victim mode. Let me tell you, there's two things that I always say I feel like trauma can do. You're either going to run to it or run from it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes your trauma can make you so bitter that you end up just making all kind of bad decisions based on the fact that somebody hurt you. It's kind of like hurt people. So
Right.
because I'm hurt, you're gonna feel what I felt. You're gonna feel wrath and this and that. So what tends to happen though, when you haven't realized that's where you're at in your trauma,
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to be the bad guy. So the
Mm-hmm.
reason you don't get help is because it's hard to look in the mirror and say
Yes.
that because of what I have done and because of what I have gone through, this is why this has happened to me. I'm actually the culprit in this situation. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, we want to continue to use what happened to us as a reason why we hurt everybody else when somebody that came along in your life was probably coming to restore or they
Yes.
were coming to heal.
Mm-hmm.
But you turned them away because you were bitter. So again, they win.
Again, they win to a certain degree. That's now, and they will win, like you said, if you allow them
If you
to
allow it.
if you
Correct.
allow them to win on your behalf.
Correct.
But
Correct.
that's why everyone has to find their message in your own madness. First, find
Yes.
out what your madness is, and
Yes.
then get the message out of it for yourself. Because
Yes. And be
I
honest about that madness. Okay.
Okay. Because if you have to be true to yourself before you
Yes.
can be true to anybody else. And to continue to lie to yourself, that's just crazy to
It
me.
is. It
If
is.
I always say this is one of my sayings. If you uncover the devil, there's no place for him to hide.
I
So
love it.
if you
Love
say
it.
I have done a certain thing, then bring that thing to me, and then I
Yes.
can tell you whether I've done it or not. Or in the event that you feel like I'm lying about it, you do your research. That's just like
Yes.
with scripture. Yes, you can hear everybody else preach and say this, but you need to do your own research. Seek
Yes.
out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. So that's
Yes.
why I tell people now, with the purpose of the magazine and everything, is to find a better Tina, not to find
Yes.
a better Angela, so or
Yes.
better anybody
Yes.
else, but I had to
Yes.
find out what's wrong with me first in order
Yes.
for me to find a better me. Because you
Yes.
know, not having a father there or a mother there until later on, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. What is
Yes.
wrong with me that my father didn't want to be around? So that's why, I had to accept this or deal with that. No, that's
Yes.
incorrect. Not at this
Yes.
time, not anymore. You don't have to accept it. I don't owe it, so I'm not gonna pay it. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying now. If you don't owe it, you don't have to pay it. If you owe it, then you pay it. Other than that,
Yes.
don't push your negativity on me, because you're not man or woman enough to stand up for yourself and go
Yes.
find the help that you need to do whatever that you need to do. So
Yes.
that's the only thing that really gets up under my skin about the whole thing is,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're seeking to be a better person for yourself and then for the loved ones that you have around you or whatever, then why are you attacking me? And
Yes.
the answer to that is because they don't have the courage to open up to
Yes.
themselves. So that's
Yes.
why you attack others.
Yep. And I love that this gentleman that is right, commenting. He says sometimes the encouragement is perceived as negativity by the
Mhm,
person who has been victimized. Is it
mhm.
better to allow them to move forward and ask for the encouragement?
Um, well, sometimes when you're in a space where you're trying to stay the victim, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, because you're more
Mm-hmm.
comfortable being
Yeah.
in that particular spot you have been for so long, then your
Mm-hmm.
perception is going to always be that somebody's attacking me, and you don't want that encouragement. So
Right.
you have to want better in order to grasp that better.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in times, someone may have tried to encourage me, but the way that you encourage somebody is, you have to be really careful with that sometime, because you can't encourage somebody by saying, well, you did the right thing, okay, you ain't get pregnant no more till after so, okay, good, you weren't supposed to get pregnant in the first place. Well, I
You
know
like,
that,
thank you.
you know I know that.
Right. That is so true. But you know what? Now that be low key shade. You know what I'm saying? Because like
Yes,
I always say, you have those people that have that low key shade where they trying to really throw daggers when they really, instead of
that's
just,
correct.
giving you the encouragement. So I do understand that completely. The other part of this too is, I feel like when it comes to really honing in again on what you know to be true about yourself. The honesty part is the part that, people just struggle with that. And
Oh, yes,
again,
ma'am.
and it's not a right or wrong. It's
Ooh,
really at this stage of the game when you're trying to heal, it's about life or death, at this
yes,
point, because life
yes.
is not promised to us. Unfortunately, I just had another friend that has passed away at an early age, 52 years old. She was a ray of
Wow.
sunshine. My point is, though, you have so many people that's just holding on to the negative and
Yes.
holding on to, what's not good, and it's
Mm-hmm.
eating away at you, so
Mm-hmm.
you're not even able to see that there is some beauty in this life that has been given to you, because life is about ebbs and flows. We're gonna have negatives and positives.
Most
That's how
definitely.
we live,
Yes.
and you
Yes.
just have to be able to handle both. But you do have to do it with raw transparency and honesty, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people just aren't willing to do that.
They're not. They're not. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to to me, and then
Hmm.
to even the ones that I'm trying to relate to, the young ladies, even the men. I didn't
Yes.
realize that the men would be. My mind was just more focused on
Yeah.
the ladies, not purposely excluding
Right.
them,
Right.
because they're of course very important, but um us women, us ladies, us young girls, we have a certain influence over our guys,
Yes.
over our brothers, over our
Yes.
friends that are men, over our cousins, that just men in
Yes.
general, even the little
Yes.
boys. I have two grandsons,
Hmm.
6 and 13. There's a
Um,
I have a certain influence over them.
yes.
So if we're in a positive position, the
Mhm.
women, like the
Yes.
scripture says that a foolish woman plucks down her house with her own hands. So how
Yes.
do you know if you've been a foolish woman? You first have to find out who you are on the inside. When I go
Amen.
to work, I don't wait until my job tell me who I am. Yes,
Yes.
I have a title there, but that's not who I am.
Yes.
And it's not, I don't give them the you can't put a stamp of approval on me of who I am, because my
Yes.
self-worth comes with me. It don't come after I get to my job and then say, okay, now
Yes.
you worth this much. No, this is what I accepted that you all are going to pay me under this title. That's
Yes.
what that is. So
Yes.
I want my sisters and my brothers to realize that first, get yourself healed, find out what's going on the inside of you to be a better you. And then
Yes.
if you don't do that, you're going to always be in that that pity party, self-pity
Yes.
spot. And
Yes.
that's totally different from having feelings and emotions for certain things or certain people,
Yeah.
because a lot of men are like, well, I ain't finna cry about that. But sometimes you should cry about that.
Yes. Yes.
Be honest with yourself about it.
Yes.
If that makes you feel sad,
Yes.
then cry about that if you want to cry. Now,
Yes.
I have two brothers, and one of my brothers, he doesn't have a problem with crying if he needs to cry.
Yes.
My other brother, he
Yes.
don't really want to do no whole lot of crying because he want to stay, tough or whatever.
Yeah.
But now that the one of my brothers, he has been talking to me about going to counseling and everything. He said, "Boo, I'm tired." He
Amen.
said, and so that I went through a lot of things that I didn't know that I was going through to help someone else.
Yes.
So now he's making sure that he's seeking out that the help that he needs for
Yeah.
his mental, because
Yeah.
he's 54, and he said
Wow.
that's one of the best things that he has ever done.
Yeah.
And he's just now getting started. I said, you need to talk with someone, because your
Yes.
daddy wasn't there either, you know.
Yes.
And then my other brother, we share the same daddy.
Hmm.
And he has his own issues, but what he do is he find out how he need to expose those issues with
Yes.
himself. He has to open up to himself and say, okay, this is what's wrong with me, and this is where I need to put this, because it's affecting my relationship with my family. It's affecting my
Yes.
relationship with my sisters. It's affecting
Yes.
that. So if you want to do better, if you want to get better, that's for any one of us. I'm talking to
Mhm.
everybody.
Yes,
Then we
yes,
have to make sure that we get the message out of our own madness. It's
yes,
not our problem or our issue how other people perceive things, but it's our response to what they say.
yes,
That's what I get. That's my responsibility. Tina, how you going to respond to that? You can choose the negative or the positive. You can give them the
yes,
power or keep it for yourself. What you gonna
yes,
do? So
yes.
that's what it's all about to me. And it's time out for all of this other stuff. Don't get mad at me because I know how to go seek help for myself. Don't get mad at me because I can let my light shine and I don't have to wait on somebody else to hold a candle up to me to tell me who I am and what
Yeah,
I'm worth. Don't be mad at me. Join me, honey. And that's male
love
or
it.
female. And I will let you
Yes.
know how to get by with doing it.
I absolutely love that. And that is part of the other thing, too. It's like, once you understand who you are, you have to be very careful to protect that. And what
Yes,
I mean
ma'am.
by that, you have to protect your peace because a lot of people aren't together. So
Yes,
when they
ma'am.
see that you are together and you tackle the things and you put in the work and you've done it, that's when you get those, the haters, the shady people. They miserable in what they do, so they want
Yes,
to
yes,
slap that smile right off of your face. So
yes,
you have got to be content with knowing who you are so that they can't affect you like that. A
yes,
lot of
ma'am.
times we were talking about it. I had Dr. Kiba Richmond Green on my show recently, and we were talking about mental health and how important it was, and how significant it is, especially around the times now, because we're in the holiday seasons and, people are sad. Suicide is on the
Yes.
rise. We have a world nothing about nothing but straight up confusion all over the place that the
Mm-hmm.
world is advocating for. And so at this stage, of the game, you have so many people dealing with so many different things. So it is so important that we don't allow other people's negativity to affect who we know we are, because we can allow that too. Them spirits sometimes
Yes,
transfer,
ma'am.
and the biggest thing they said is that it's because somebody's comparing themselves to you. They see you smiling, they see you confident, they see you happy, they see you
Yes.
walking and glowing when you walk in a room, and it is an issue for them. But they don't know that if they dealt with the stuff that is bothering them and that's
Mm-hmm.
within them, they
Mm-hmm.
would be just as content as you are. And notice I said content, not happy,
Yes, ma'am.
because nobody can make you happy.
That's right.
Happy
You have
is
to
an
do this.
emotion. It's going to come and
Mm-hmm.
go. Some days
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be pissed off. Some days you're going to be good. But contentment,
Yes,
meaning it's
ma'am.
a peace that surpasses all
It's all
understanding.
understanding.
It's that peace that says, even though all of this is going on around me, I'm still
Yes,
good. I'm
that's
still
it.
good. Yes, I might have had a little failure, or what the world call failure. I call it a transition. I might have
Uh-huh.
transitioned, but I've been able to reroute that thing and do what I need to do. That is what you have to know. And then when somebody tries to put that down, you still smile. You still love on them. You still encourage. You still be who you are. Let your light, because what I made up in my mind, and this is recent, I said, why is it that pissed off people can walk around pissed off, but I'm happy and I can't walk around happy? I'm going to choose happy. I'm going to choose peace.
There you
I'm
go.
going to choose the smile.
Yes.
Because just like they can be rude and ignorant, I can be nice and kind. So
Thank you.
why would I let that dim? So that is just another way that you can actually show someone you've overcome.
And you know what, Angela, I thank you so much for saying that. And to piggyback off of that is, I said to myself recently, I said, you
Hmm.
know what? I said, I'm gonna stop just letting them be. I'm not gonna be bothered with what they saying if they don't want to speak or whatever.
Yes.
My mind switched to maybe they didn't hear me. or
Okay.
who cares if they don't speak back? I'm not gonna change being who I am because
Yes.
the sister over here don't want to speak because maybe she got a headache. You know, maybe
Yes.
maybe her
Yes.
husband or boyfriend slapped upside her head. I don't know.
Yes.
Or I don't know
Yes.
what her issue is, but I can't make her issue my issue.
That's
So
right.
when I perceived it differently versus, oh man, why I'm speaking to everybody and they
Yeah.
don't want to speak.
Yeah.
Who gives a
Yeah.
hoot? You know, you can't let their madness pull you into their world. That
Yes.
that's your negativity. And I told my husband and some friends of mine, I said, I don't care who it is, friend, family, or foe. If you can't
Yes.
bring anything into my circle and into my world to enhance it or make it better, don't
Yes.
bring me your grief or your madness or your whatever you
Yes.
got going on and try and
Yes.
put it on my shoulders and feel like I got to accept it. No, I do not. And I will
Yes.
not. Like I said before, I don't owe it, so I'm not going to pay it. This is
Yes.
about coming out
Yes.
of your own shell, not trying to
Yes.
crack Angela's shell to see what she got in there so you can
Yes.
pull it out of her. If you can't pull your own stuff out of your own stuff, then how you feel like you're gonna pull mine out of me? It,
Exactly.
it
And
don't
look,
make sense.
and Tina, let me tell you the conversation I had with the Lord. The Lord said one day, literally, it's not always about you, okay? They didn't
That's
speak because
right.
they may be having a bad day. Sit your tail down somewhere.
That's right.
Everybody ain't mad at you. Everybody ain't hating on you. Quit being a narcissist. So I had to
That's
learn
it.
that too. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
ma'am.
It's
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
okay, you are absolutely right. Some people are just having a bad day. And at the end of the day, if
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know you haven't done anything to somebody, let them be them. You
Mm-hmm.
continue to be you. And somewhere in the middle, God gonna work it out. He always does. And so
And
I
look,
had to remember that.
exactly. And then he'll put it back on you, such as this. He'll say, when I spoke to somebody has spoke to me, and they was like, I've been trying to speak to you all day, but you just kept walking away. And I had to say, I honestly didn't hear you. I didn't
Yeah.
see you.
Yep.
So he
Yep.
had to, switch it around to let
Yes.
me see that it's like you
Yes.
said, it's not about you, but he'll let you
Yes.
see that it's not about you. Because
Okay.
I honestly didn't hear them and I didn't see them. It wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, you like,
I had
Tina,
to just
I ain't
keep
talking to you no more because you ain't say nothing to me. You be looking
it.
like, oh my God, and they be mad for a whole month.
I'm sorry.
so, so listen, I want you are a new author, correct?
I don't have when you say author, you mean
Uh-huh.
as writing a book?
Uh-huh. Have you written a
No,
book yet?
no, I haven't written a
Okay.
book. I have many notes that make up a book, but I haven't put
Look.
them
That
together
might be
and
something
binded
that's
them as a
being
book.
look that we might be speaking that into existence because I
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely love what you have to say, and so now I can ask this question:
Yes, ma'am.
did it affect your relationship with your husband?
Which part?
Like any of the challenging parts that may take have taken you like a while to heal, did you realize that came into your marriage, or had you already kind of been healed before you finally got married?
No, it came into my marriage
It
because
did.
I'm married.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm married young. I'm married at 22.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
So,
Yes.
I'm married young and it's been in my marriage. I've been dating him since I
Yes.
was 19
Okay.
and yeah. So yeah, it
Wow.
did. It did. And but I was told by
Hmm.
my grandmother, which raised me, that you be married to one man. She was married to my granddaddy, and
Yeah.
until their death, and you be married to this man. And she gave me some tools. So that's what I
Amen.
taught my daughters. I just gave them tools. Not that your children are going to accept everything that you say at that particular
Yes.
time or whatever, but it found out to be true and is
Yes.
very successful, on their part. So
Yes.
I thank goodness. I thank God for the struggles. I thank Him for the things that I have went through, the things that I'm about to
Yes.
go through, but the blessings that are gonna fall upon the other people.
Yes.
This is not about Tina. This is about
Yes.
making sure that I get this message that the Almighty has placed within me, to
Yes.
reach out to my brothers and sisters to let them know no matter what, you keep going, you find out the
Amen.
truth about things. Seek out your own soul with fear and trembling, making sure that you're praying and you're getting being led, by your higher power, and making sure that you find that true you. And then
Yes.
you can't go wrong, with the true you. Another thing I want to say is, a lot of us women, we're not, they put us up against one another as if we should always be bitter and fighting
Yeah.
and doing all this stuff,
Mhm.
which is the total opposite
Yeah.
of it. We
Yeah.
actually admire one another, but it has
Yes.
been a driving force of pride. Well, you don't, look at her, she thinks she's something. Or I'm
Yes.
very complimentary. I don't
Yes.
care who you are, where you, it doesn't matter. If you got on something that I like, or
Yes.
if you're just beautiful. I mean, I don't,
Yes.
what's wrong with me saying, well, Angela, I think you have a gorgeous smile. And
Yes.
when I
Yeah.
love to compliment, because if I think that your curls are bumpy or whatever, I don't have a problem with
Yes.
saying that. So
Yes.
why not try and find the positive to say to other people, as you
Yeah.
tell yourself that first?
Yes.
Self-worth
Yes.
first.
Yes. Well, I think it's because you that's pretty much the gist of it. When you do know who you are and you're confident, then it doesn't bother you when a woman comes in a room. I'm going to tell you, I am in awe, literally, okay? And I say this platonically, like this has nothing to do with, no kind of lust factor or nothing, but there is
Hmm.
nothing more appealing than a woman who walks in a room and she commands that room. Like,
Yes,
I love that. And so when
yes,
I meet women who are like that, I always tell them, girl, you came in that room like, what? Who? What I'm saying? Like, it makes me smile because
yes,
I can honestly tell you 9 times out of 10, they've been through something and that's why they're able to hold their head high. And I
yes,
always feel like I can see past that. And especially when they're beautiful inside too. Like that is the icing on the cake. You can be physically gorgeous and a big jerk, but you
yes.
can
Oh, yes,
but
ma'am.
when you have that spirit and
Hmm.
when people see you, they know you love people, and it is
Yes,
just that magnetic spirit. It's alluring, and that is what wins people over. Then they want to get to know you. Then you tell them what you've been through. That's
hmm,
the seeds that you're sowing. Those are testimonies. You said earlier about talking to your children and not really knowing how they could receive it. It doesn't matter. We sow the seed. That's what we do. God
right.
will probably allow somebody else to cultivate that seed. Then somebody else is gonna come and water it. He told me a long time ago, don't have a pride about seeing your
Hmm.
flower from the seed you put in the ground. Just sow the seed and keep moving.
That's
And
it.
trust that it's
Hmm.
gonna be taken care of. Listen, Tina, we got like 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
I could stay on here forever, to be honest with you. But before I let you go, I must have you tell the audience how they can support what it is you would like to, and maybe even a word of encouragement before you get off the show today.
Okay. The word of encouragement is, like I said, just dive in to find out who you are first. Don't let
Amen.
anybody else put any numbers to your self-worth. Make sure you know who you are. And the only way to do that, you need to be praying and finding out and making sure that, what is my pain? What is my message in my own madness? Now, there
Yes.
will be a Tiva Couture to come. You all be looking for that particular
All right.
brand, Tiva Couture,
Eva
as well
Couture.
as Table Talk with Tiva. So
Love
there
it.
will be more
Love
discussions
it.
to come. The Almighty is doing the work, and I am just following. I thank Angela Fox for allowing me to be on her show, for taking this
Oh,
time out with me. It also, Anna Eccles for
yes.
connecting, the two. And I just
Yes.
appreciate, and I thank you all for listening. And I hope and I pray that something has been said for you all to dive in and dig in into yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tina. Listen, we're going to be looking out for those projects. When they come, you're going to have to come back on the show. We can talk about it.
Yes,
But I
ma'am.
am absolutely, you have truly been a blessing. I know that everybody else out there who has been listening, they're going to be blessed as well. And this is going to run through social. You share it out. You tell your base to share it out so that people can be encouraged. And I thank you so much for being on the Angela Foxworth show. So, guys, I hate this. I only got like 30 seconds. It's not enough hours not enough time sometimes. But
Not
I
enough
just want
time.
to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Listen, you guys know if you want to follow me, I'm at www.theafoxshow.com. If you want to, give me a show idea or you want to talk to me, info@theafoxshow.com. If you want to see me on social media, it's at Angela Foxworth TV and the real A Fox on Instagram and on Facebook. It is the Angela Foxworth Show and just Angela Foxworth. Listen, Angela Foxworth. That's all I got to tell you. So I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. And remember, life with a fox is truly living outside the box. And I am always interviewing with a purpose. Until I see you guys again, I would listen. This weekend it's gonna be on and popping. You guys are gonna see me. I'm back with the music, folks. So I'm gonna be on location this weekend. But for anybody else, we will see you next Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. Good
Thank you.
night. Okay, hold